this is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on May the 9th in the year of our Lord 2026, and I've got a lot of great information for you. Happy Saturday. Let me jump over here on my Rumble channel, and here's the video that we're going to be working on tonight, episode 1912. It says upcoming, but as you know, you are actually watching it. This is my live stream. Let me jump into that. Hi, Debbie BS. Nice to see you. I'll get back with you here in just a moment. But let's slide down here and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. We have information from Barry Cunningham, the real Adogg, Glenn Beck, and Robert Gouveia. But before we get into that, I do have some shout outs to give from G. Hurry, just started following my channel. Quiver Bliss just started following my channel. Willie1256 just started following my channel. And Hudson Luca 012 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I hope you're tuned in. I really appreciate you following my channel. Okay, Debbie BS, we posted my episode 1911. Arky72 commented on my daily news wrap-up. Debbie BS and Cottonball31 commented on my episode 1911. Debbie BS commented on my extra 693B and 693C. Bill C1 commented on my extra 694A. Debbie BS commented on my extra 694B. Debbie BS and Hudson Luca 012 commented on my extra 694C. So thank you very much, folks, for reposting my videos, and thank you for your comments. I enjoy reading your feedback, and I definitely appreciate your support. Okay, let me give that a thumbs up, and let me remind you, folks, I have one of those thumbs up icons right here below the video that you're watching. So if you want to slide down there and click it with your mouse or poke it with your finger, that would be great. Okay, let's see what Barry Cunningham's up to. Trump is actively winning the maximum warfare game. Okay, let's check it out and see what he has to say.
Yes, you are correct. But what you didn't realize is that we were coming for you just as hard, bro. Oh, right now you've got Democrats across the country just putting their face in their hands. The media, oh no, tell me this didn't just happen. Tell me this didn't happen. Let's just recap the week, shall we? Hey, I'm breaking for the weekend. I'm going to an event this weekend with Robin. She's waiting for me at the hotel. I'm like, this is going to be a sprint show. We're going to be a little bit fast here today. So let's just recap. We had the Indiana destruction of the Democrats, of rhinos, just completely MAGA eviscerated Indiana, which you know what's coming. And then we had Tennessee when they're all screaming and going crazy and racism. And then Florida, we had the lady with, the fang flanklers. She's out there making all her noise. So she's running around screaming, and they can't even catch their breath because they realized the maximum warfare was going the other way. I mean, day after day, it's like body blow, uppercut. If you guys remember the video game from back in the day. Body blow, uppercut today. The uppercut came on Friday morning and delivered a complete knockout punch. I don't want to get too crazy. I don't want to gloat. Well, yeah, I do want to gloat. I don't want to get too over. Yeah, I'm kind of confident right now. Understand, even with all this redistricting craziness that's going on, it does not guarantee a win. I should put that a disclaimer. Does not guarantee a win. Because we still have to go out and win these races. Even though, you see what's happening in Florida and Tennessee and Alabama, soon to be Georgia. Although you see it, we still have to perform. We still have to get out warfare and just rub their faces in it like a dog that pooped on the carpet. You have to rub their faces in it. Maximum warfare began. It didn't end. We're just beginning. And this is something each and every one of you now has to put on that armor. You got the armor of God on. Now we got to put the MAGA armor on too. We got to get ready to go in and just wipe these people out, metaphorically speaking. I don't want to think anybody we're advocating violence here. We'll leave that up to them. Let's make them completely irrelevant. Let's just make them a party of nothing, a party of no voices. I think they're starting to realize it. Here was part of the sobbing. I believe this is CNN.
Fallon, walk us through this ruling. Why did the court ultimately strike it down?
Yeah, so the Supreme Court here, the Virginia State Supreme Court, is striking this map down on procedural grounds. They are saying that the mechanism that the state legislators used to call the special session to actually draw this map was invalid under the state's constitution. Now, of course, this session was called by the state Speaker of the House. But in Virginia, in order to call a special legislative session like the one that was used to create this map, either the governor needs to call it or a 2/3 majority of both houses of the state legislature need to call that session.
So what you're saying is they cheated. They cheated and got caught. Here's what the rules say you have to do. Hey, F the rules. We're Democrats. We do what we want. And we're going to go ahead and do it. We don't need rules. We're just going to beat up on the Republicans and do it. And they didn't even see it coming.
This Supreme Court is upholding a lower state court's ruling, saying that mechanism for the state speaker to call this special legislative session was invalid. And so therefore, the map that they produced during this legislative session was invalid.
Frankly.
Yeah, I mean, look, so Republicans are celebrating this, as one might expect. Essentially, they say that they're now on offense, that according to the Republican chairman of the House campaign arm, Richard Hudson of North Carolina. But the question then becomes, and I think Fallon was getting at this, is that this is now the 2026, we're getting close to the end of what the redistricting shuffle will look like.
I was seeing these faces all day today. At just grown-ass people just sitting there going, we got nothing. We got absolutely nothing. We got our butts handed to us. Let me show you this one. I posted it earlier. These were two libtards on CNN. You'll love this. I said, laugh. Well, you know what LMAO means. Libtards are fooked, and they know it. The last few weeks have been brutal for them. And I love what this guy wrote. He goes, when liberals realize that the redistricting in Tennessee will result in the election of a Republican black woman, and look at their faces. Just, oh, did I spring some news on you there? I'm sorry. I was in front of what I needed to talk about. This is really gonna make you go, what? So you heard all the dangling and clangling in Memphis. It's racist. We're burning Confederate flags. We're doing all kinds of stuff in Memphis. It's incredible. It's so racist. We don't even understand how the Jim Crow stuff is even happening.
Representative Justin Pearson. If he looks familiar, it's because in 2023, he was actually expelled from the state legislature for leading a gun violence protest, but voters here sent him right back. What's your reaction to this redistricting effort? You and your colleagues are going to be there on Tuesday. And then how are state Democrats responding, considering the Republican trifecta you're working with?
I mean, we're organizing, we're fighting, we're speaking up against what is likely to be one of the most racist actions taken by this legislature. We're going to see nearly a dozen U.S. congressional seats at least taken away by Republicans who are trying to change the maps and create more racist maps. And so we're...
I don't want to hear any more from him, because what I'm going to show you, I found out this morning, and I was like, oh my God. So it's racist. It's racist. It's racist, right? What they're complaining about is that there's going to be no black representation in the Memphis district. None. They've taken it away. Well, wait till you see who's going to be the likely person to win. Imagine the surprise America will have when they find out that the Democrats are in a hissy fit about Jim Crow because the current white billionaire representing Memphis. Yeah, first of all, you got to swallow that. Currently, they're fighting racism while they've elected a white billionaire, because AOC says there's no such thing as a billionaire, but he happens to be representing Memphis, the Black District. My God. Redistricting because they think it's racist, but they have a white representative. Wow. But what is really weird, even worse than that, is that the woman who will now win is a black woman. A black woman will be representing Memphis, most likely with the redistricting. She just happens to be the wrong flavor. She's a Republican. Make that make sense? They're fighting racism to keep the white guy, the white billionaire, in office, and they don't even recognize that the black woman is the woman who will be in office most likely. How do you reconcile that? How do you burn Confederate flags? How do you burn the American flag? How do you get all kinds of riled up and want to cuss at cops and go absolutely stark raving nuts? Do people not know that the white billionaire currently, as of today, represents the black district they're freaking out about? I wonder how many of you knew it. You probably thought, oh my gosh, it's just, I want to win, but I don't want the people to have no representation from people who look like them. Meanwhile, this guy has sat there for 20 years. He has been there for 20 years and nothing good has happened. Memphis has been a crap hole. Yet, progress is coming because a black woman is going to be elected. So, I posted something earlier. Can somebody tell me who's representing the black Republicans in these districts? Are you saying there's no black Republicans? With all the rioting and stuff that's bound to happen, all the Jim Crow, does Jim Crow not affect black Republicans? Nothing these people say makes any sense whatsoever.
2028, though, imagine the floodgates opening because you can see various states on both sides trying this again. New York, for example, maybe Virginia will give it another go. The list goes on. And the question is, I believe it was under the RICO case, does Congress step in to try to put guardrails on the redistricting fight? And right now, there's not the...
Congress can't do anything other than raising their salaries. So you expect Congress to get together between now and November or October and do something. Hold on. Let me check my notes. To help the Democrats. That's what he just said. Maybe we can get together and Congress. Why would... Well, then again, we can't trust Republicans. They may get together and try to help the Democrats. But then again, not that close to an election, because that would be their ass.
Incentive structure to get that done on Capitol Hill, certainly not under President Donald Trump. The hope that I have heard from Democrats is that if they are going to fight back, if they're willing to fight back and go toe-to-toe with the Republicans on redistricting in some of these states, perhaps it will force both sides to wake up and say, okay, we have to do something to rein that in. That might be perhaps a little naive thinking, though.
I just happen to think of something. You guys, some of you guys are older, maybe as old as me, can remember the Three Stooges. And you remember, Curly was always the guy that they were making fun of, and Mo was the head guy. And Curly, and Mo would just have his hand on his head, and Curly went, and he just hold. What do you mean fight? What do you mean fight? There is no fight to be had. There's nothing you can do. You can't even go to the Supreme Court because the top Supreme Court is going to align with the Virginia Supreme Court. You got nothing. You get to go home and wallow in it as you watch state after state after state do whatever they can to completely eradicate Democrats. And that's even going to be in South Carolina, which I know Clyburn. Watch this sad sack of people.
Translation, there's trepidation in South Carolina to take advantage of the Supreme Court ruling like other southern states are.
Yeah, listen, because what you would probably have in South Carolina is no black representation, right? You would have seven Republicans. Clyburn would probably be not in Congress. He's got the 6th district. So yeah, this is a pendulum swing, right? And the idea is that every action often has an equal and opposite reaction. And are we going to get into the situation where, as you said, every 2 years, there is some different map? And it sows, I think.
Wait. The only way it would happen every 2 years if somehow every 2 years the Democrats somehow find a way to crawl out of the gutter and take power again. That ain't going to happen. We're about to put you in Twilight Zone where you'll never take power ever again. God forbid, God bless us, if we get California's mayor of Los Angeles and governor of California. These people, I don't know, they might just jump off the Malibu pier at this point, or just all head to Mondami and sing together collectively.
Distrust and disengagement among voters, right? Particularly in some of these states where it isn't even the voters that are making the decisions. It is elected leaders of one party. And so this, I think, has set off
elected leaders of one party making the rules? I don't think so. Did you not just see that it was today the Virginia State Supreme Court, which is comprised of, 7 people. One of the guys in the last SV, one of the guys was actually appointed by Mark Warner, a Democrat. They spanked you. They took you out behind the woodshed and just whooped that you-know-what. And you can tell by the way these people are talking, they're grasping because they are finally in no man's land, nowhere land. They've never been in this area before. They never, and it's not going to stop. See, as I've said many, many times ad nauseum here, nobody can understand what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know tomorrow if Trump's going to do X, Y, or Z over in, Iran. Oh, speaking of Iran, you know what quietly just went under the radar today because of everything happening with with this stuff? Did you miss this? Did you miss that the oil price right now is $79? How can that possibly be? How can the oil prices have dropped that far and nobody got it? Everything over the head of the Democrats, and they're foreseeing what was happening or foresee what's going to happen in the future. That industry dead as long as Donald Trump is president. You can't even pick up a single poll and go, what the hell does this mean? Oh, prices are too high. Like I said, Jesus, because that's going to sink. And when those numbers go down and you can't talk about that, what are you going to do? Well, what about eggs? Oh, no, we can't talk about eggs. Tobacco? Anything? Nothing. Nothing.
A real arms race where we could see a House that doesn't really represent America. It doesn't really look like America, both in terms of diversity of ideas or diversity culturally.
When did we get to the point? I don't know. I'm 65. I never got my ballot and said, let me find a person who looks like me. When did that start happening? I don't care what you look like. What are you going to do? Make it work for us. Yeah. Look like me was never, ever, ever a quality or attribute that I cared about. And for some people who did say, I wish people would look at me, maybe that should have been like, number 15 on the list. I'm not looking for somebody with a big giant afro who swears at cops and, has made his own persona on social media, and he became a new Tupac because he was a prep school guy, and then all of a sudden he wants to be Mr. Thug. I don't care. I don't care. Maybe that's the problem. You people have been looking at people who look like you who have no clue. Jasmine Crockett, nah, clueless, gone. And then AOC, which we will get to. Here's a good one for you. You put so many people that look like you instead of people who can think like you. How about that? How about people who have your best interest at heart? If you think that taking money from somebody else is in your best interest, you're crazy. You're a loser. Wear it. If you think, as of right now, that we're watching people go crazy simply because somebody that looks like them won't be, well, actually will be in office, but they don't, vote like them. This is a crazy world, and it's only going to get crazier because this maximum warfare that we are now, I gotta play it.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
All right, I'm going to pause that there. I have this video in my daily news wrap-up playlist, so I'm like 25-minute mark. It's a 2-hour and 10-minute video. A lot of great information. Let me go ahead and click on the Rumble link and show you that this video does come from Barry Cunningham. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here. And we did some chatting here with Susie Poll 2016 and Debbie BS. So let me close that out and slide down here and see what, here we go. Click the show more button again. See what the real Adogg has to say about OMG. Trump immediately does this as a riot at the Capitol building just broke out. Okay, well, let's see what he did.
So now you got Democrats and that dollar store Barack Obama. Hakeem Jeffries is mad because Tennessee done passed new congressional maps eliminating the state's only Democrat district, and now all what done broke loose. So now riot at the Capitol in Tennessee. We got so much to get to, and now you got all these Democrats running around here crying. President Trump taking him a victory lap. We definitely about to get ready to dive straight into this. Now, let's start this off with President Trump pretty much celebrating the victory today. You see, just now, President Trump said we had a big victory today in Virginia, and that Timu Obama is furious. He's furious. He's mad. So you can see right here, President Trump happy.
So it was a great victory. We had a lot of great victories. We had a big So it was a great victory. We had a lot of great victories. We had a big victory today in Virginia, as you know, and we have a lot of victories, but the victory in Iraq was really great.
So President Trump said we got a big victory today in Virginia. Now, I want to take y'all back for a second before we get to these riots that's at the Capitol and stuff like that. And we're going to see if Democrats going to call them out. But y'all remember this right here when CNN does a flashback to Hakeem Jeffries talking big on Virginia redistricting, saying the law is with us. I want to just get everybody up to speed. Remember when this dollar store 10-cent Barack Obama said this?
The law is with us.
Oh.
In Virginia, the facts are with us.
Okay.
In Virginia.
Oh, really?
And the people are with us in Virginia. There's no basis in law or fact for the Virginia Supreme Court under the Constitution that exists, particularly in the aftermath of a people-approved referendum, to do anything other than to allow it to move forward.
The law is with us, said the aspiring House Speaker, Hakeem Jeffries. Not so fast.
Not so fast. Because the reason why she say not so fast, look at this right here. Breaking. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has officially signed state's new congressional maps into law. Let's go. Tennessee will soon have 9 Republicans and 0 Democrats in Congress. All the Democrats screeching today did not work. Y'all, look at this right here. Look at this. Insane. Look at this. Look at all of them up here screaming.
This is right. Crazy. This is crazy. And Barry Cunningham just showed you in his video about some lady walking up and down Congress. It was state legislature in on a megaphone screaming and hollering. Have you ever seen Republicans act like this? Okay, we're not talking about January 6th, which was a setup. The Capitol Police actually allowed the people in, and then there was some FBI agents that started a ruckus, getting people all riled up. But I don't think anybody's putting these Democrats up to this, except for other Democrats, the Democrat Party in general. I mean, other than January 6th, have you ever seen Republicans act like this, scream and holler in the middle of legislation taking place? I don't think it has, because if it has, it would have been far and wide on CBS, NBC, ABC, even Fox, and MSNBC, and CNN, and every place else. But it's okay for the Democrats to do it. They just barely talk about it. The only way you're going to get this information is with me and people like the real Adogg or Barry Cunningham showing it to you, because nobody else in the mainstream media will.
This is what they doing. None of this work. Hey, go another angle right here. They just all in there screaming. They all at the top up here. This is insane. Look at them. It get even worse. I'm about to show y'all. It's Tennessee's new maps have passed the state Senate and are on their way to be signed into law by Governor Bill Lee. Leftist activists stormed the Senate chamber and started screaming, but senators ignored them and passed the map anyway. This is how it's done. So this is exactly what's going on. Look at this. A tug of war. Look, you got this woman on top of tables. You know, look at this. This is how mad they is. This is crazy. They all in here screaming. I mean, come on. Look at this. Tennessee passes new congressional map, eliminates the state's only Democrat district. Protesters have an absolute meltdown. This is insane. Look at this crap. What the Democrats gonna say about this? They always want to talk about January 6th, even though we know who fault that was. Nancy Pelosi already said she take accountability for that, but Democrats ain't gonna call. What they gonna call this right here? Look at this. Wow. This is what they doing. All because they lost. Wow. We will not go back. Oh my God. So this is what's going on in Tennessee right now. The Tennessee state capitol was invaded by insurrectionists today. This is substantially worse than January 6th. They all should be arrested. Why ain't nobody getting arrested? Why isn't Hakeem Jeffries talking about this? Why isn't AOC talking about this? Why isn't Dumb, Omar, Jasmine Crockett, all of them, Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer? Why ain't none of them talking about this? This is an insurrection right here. Why isn't none of these people being arrested? Why not? So we get to this part right here. You got Representative Justin Pearson gets into a heated confrontation with TSP troopers during a special session, and I want y'all to listen closer to how this man was talking to this state trooper. Then called him a boy. Representative Justin Pearson, which he is a Democrat, and he mad because they just lost. And so he called the state trooper a boy.
Yeah, let Pearson go. Let Pearson. What is wrong with you? Okay. What is wrong with you? You stupid mother.
Wow. And a lot of people want him removed. A lot of people want him arrested. Look how he's talking to this trooper, calling him a boy, a MF, all because he mad because they just lost. That's what it is. I mean, this is just sickening.
This isn't coincidental or accidental. They're coming for black political power in Tennessee and Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. We're seeing the greatest purge of black power since the era of Reconstruction. Our vote! Our vote! Shame! 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 Look at me! Shame! 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 This is the bigotry that we've come to expect and understand to happen here. But people power is still here. We still have a voice, and we've got to use it every time we can.
Do you support this kind of demonstration in a moment like this?
What the hell else are we going to do? We have a white supermajority Republican legislature that is doing everything it can to destroy us. This is only going to happen once, and we're alive for it, and we all have to do something. And so if this is what folks need to do, then that's what they need to do. White supremacy is codifying itself in the state of Tennessee and all across the nation. This isn't coincidental or accidental. They're coming for black political power in Tennessee and Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. We're seeing the greatest purge of black power since the era of Reconstruction.
It's official. The Tennessee Senate has passed a 2026 redistricting map that will eliminate the final Democrat seat in the state. Chaos erupts on the floor. Democrats are going haywire. The 9 Republicans to 0 Democrat map now heads to Governor Bill Lee for signature. Let's freaking go. Looks like Southern Republicans are going full pro-MAGA for the midterms. They don't have any interest in becoming the next Indiana. Keep this trend going to Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. All of them must redraw.
You recognize. The powers you recognize.
All right, we're going back to the live now to the conversation. This is that they've brought the speakers back up. You can't hear the protest in the background. Let's listen in.
They can't even talk because these people are mad because they just lost. They can't even talk.
003 7003, having received the constitutional majority, I declare it passed.
This is not the news that dollar store Barack Obama wanted to hear. Breaking: Tennessee House passes 2026 redistricting, and liberals have thrown the chamber into complete and utter chaos. Democrats are going berserk in a frenzy, walking out and some even being removed by officers. Will they glorify the why? Send it to the governor, make it law. The meltdowns are freaking epic. The South is fighting back. Racial gerrymander is over.
Number 22.
And they just continue to scream. Put up hands.
22, Believer Lambert, the resolution to provide for the adjournment signed off of the second extraordinary session of the 114th General Assembly.
You heard the caption. Any objections? Without objection, the rules are suspended. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the adoption of
I mean, my God. And you tell me they able to do this and ain't nobody getting arrested. Ain't nobody getting arrested. And I want to see is Democrats going to come out and say, they ain't going to say nothing about it. We know for a fact Hakeem Jeffries them not going to say anything about it. They ain't going to say nothing about
adoption of House Resolution 22.
it. Now let Democrats would have won and then Republicans or either like they like to say Trump supporter would have rushed in there. They were like, oh, look at this. Here goes January 6th all over again. That's what Democrats will be saying.
Probably seconded. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. All those in favor of House Resolution 22 say aye. All those opposed say no. The aye declared adopted. Without objection, the motion reconsider is tabled. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
They can't even talk because the people are so mad. This is just another view right here, y'all. Angry leftists have stormed the Tennessee Capitol after 2026 redistricting had 100% passed by both the House and Senate. Multiple protesters were removed. The meltdowns are glorious. Their racist cheating has come to an end.
Has passed now. I want to talk you through a little bit so you can see exactly what is happening here right now. Everybody has got their phones out trying to document this historic moment as senators are being escorted out of the chamber again. Just a few minutes ago, the bill has this redistricting bill to reshape and redraw Tennessee's congressional map has passed. Now, I want to talk you through a little bit more of what I've heard today from some of the people who have been out here, and then what some of these lawmakers have been saying within their chambers. Now, several of the people out here say that this redistricting really eliminates Black and minority voices in a community that has already historically been marginalized, specifically when it comes to voting and in other ways as well. They have told me that they are all gathered here today trying to make a difference, trying to...
Well, they ain't going to make no difference because they just lost. Now, I want to show y'all this one right here where it say, Black woman might drop a leftist who whined that Tennessee has gotten rid of their Black congressional district for the 2026 midterm.
And we discounted that statement. And now here we are seeing a Black man in Tennessee fight to keep the only Black district that they have there being totally erased off the map.
Oh, my God.
You know, there needs to be more, you know, those conversations need to be tied together.
There's no such thing as a Black district or a white district. It's an American district. You know, people, again, we vote based on our values, not the color of our skin. At least we shouldn't.
I think what we're seeing here is
there you go. Theater. That was perfect, what she just said. Because, see, they keep making it about a race thing. And she said, hey, it don't matter if you're Black or you white. Can you get the job done? And he's trying to make it about race and what skin color we're the only Black district. What? And we see the reason why that guy got mad, start cussing out the trooper and stuff like that. And I want to take y'all back to right here where we got Barack Obama is going all out to Virginia Democrat rig their congressional map through massive gerrymandering. If it succeeds, Virginia will be seduced by Republicans to 10 Democrats and just 1 Republican. That's what they try to get done. And I want y'all to listen to what Barack Obama has said.
Hey, Virginia, early voting is underway and Virginians are turning out in record numbers to vote yes. By voting yes, you have a chance to do something important.
Like
not
what?
Not just for the Commonwealth, but for our entire country. By voting yes, you can push back against the Republicans trying to give themselves an unfair advantage in the midterms. By voting yes, you can take a temporary step to level the playing field. And we're counting on you. Early voting is happening right now. Election day is on April 21st. So go to iwillvote.com/VA to find your closest polling location.
Oh,
Make
my
a plan, show up, and vote yes.
Oh, shut up, Obama. So look what he tried to get done. Now, I want to take y'all to this last thing right here and say liberals are enraged at Republican states' push to redistrict as the Tennessee House just passed a new districting map, chopping up the one Democratic district. The chair of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee says that these actions are leading to a modern-day Jim Crow area. Let's check out this clip right here.
Do you feel it's a fair characterization or hyperbole when some Democratic politicians argue the U.S. is in a second Jim Crow era?
Well, I think we're potentially on the verge of that. If you take away the tools that erased Jim Crow, and chief among them being the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and you see what legislatures are racing to do in Louisiana, in Tennessee, in Alabama, you see the potential beginnings of, if not a Jim Crow era as we have known it, a modern Jim Crow era where African Americans, Hispanics don't have the ability to fully express themselves when it comes to their political power. And that's really something that worries me. But again, I emphasize, if partisan gerrymandering is something that is going to be accepted by this Supreme Court, if that is the thing to say, well, it's not racial gerrymandering, it's only partisan gerrymandering, that affects white people in this country as well. It takes power away from all Americans and something that needs to be stopped.
So y'all heard that right there. I want y'all to get in the comment section and let me know who all stayed to the very end of this video. I really, really appreciate it. Salute to the one that always...
Okay, I'm not going to stay right to the end, but I did that earlier. But at any rate, this video does come from the real Adogg. I am subscribed to his channel on YouTube, giving him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here and see what Glenn Beck has to say with Nick Shirley went to Cuba to expose the truth and was almost kidnapped. Okay, well, let's see what that's all about.
Nick, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be back in America.
Good. Yeah, good to have you back in America. Why did you go to Cuba? What were you planning on exposing, and what are you now going to expose?
So I've had Cuba on the back of my mind for nearly a year now. I've been tracking kind of this rise of communism and socialism here in the United States. And I see that Trump and Rubio are talking more aggressively about taking over Cuba. So I figured I probably only have a few weeks left to go to make this video until they do take it over. And so I decided last week was the date that I was going to go do it. And I went and I was shocked by what I saw inside of Cuba.
Somebody described Cuba to me just the other day as, from a distance, it looks beautiful and quaint. And then when you get right up to it, it is rot and decay and suffering. Is that what you found?
100%. I mean, if you just look at the buildings, like the architecture of these buildings, like they're beautiful buildings, but they have not been kept up for nearly 60 years. Like the buildings are actually like crumbling. The streets are obviously not in a good condition as well. And then people are starving. 7 out of 10 people are not going without 3 meals a day. There's no kids aren't going to school because there's no power. The university is actually shut down because they can't go to school when there's no power. There's no electricity, so kids aren't even learning. College students aren't even learning.
They would say that that's our fault because we've put the embargo on them. So that's our fault that people aren't going to school and they're not having the electricity and they're living in the dark. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, well, I think Cuba's had 60 years to figure something out. And for 60 years, they've been underneath this communist regime and they haven't figured it out. I wonder how long it would take for me or you to figure something out if we've been facing the same problem for 60 years. And they're literally 90 miles away from the United States, and they've decided to be our enemy for so long. And now the United States is even offering support, it looks like, and it seems like they rejected that support.
So I don't know if you know who, I'm sure you do, Hassan Piker is. But he responded to you and says, I obviously don't believe this even a little bit. This is your last post, that went to Cuba to document the humanitarian crisis, blah, blah, blah. I don't even buy this a little bit, but it is ominous that this medically stupid, he called you a foul name, is going to Cuba to manufacture propaganda for what I assume will be additional U.S. intervention. How do you respond to that?
Well, he's the same person who went to Cuba with Ilhan Omar's daughter to promote how it was taking communism inside of Cuba. So he actually went on a paid trip from an organization to go to Cuba. Yet he saw what I saw with my own two eyes, and he thought it's still a good idea to promote communism and socialism inside of a country that is letting their children starve, letting the people go without internet. They don't even have access to freedom of speech inside this country, yet he still wants to promote that. And so he's going to call me stupid. Meanwhile, he's seeing what I'm seeing. I'm seeing people suffer. I'm seeing a civilization that is depressed, has no hope left in their eyes, and yet he's still advocating for more of that.
So what is the video that you're releasing today? What is on it? What are we going to see?
Yeah, so you're going to see how people really don't have freedom of speech inside of this country, and how the buildings are eroding, how these children aren't going to school, how there's no hope in the eyes of these people. That's one thing that shocked me the most. Is I've spent a lot of time with Latinos. I lived amongst them for 2 years, and even in poor circumstances, these people are some of the most happy people I've ever spent time with. These people in Cuba.
When you say you spent time in their community, you were in Chile for 2 years,
yeah.
Right? You lived in Chile on a mission. Yeah, okay.
And so I've spent a lot of time with Latinos and inside South and Central America as well. And these people are just, there's no hope left in their eyes, which is something you don't see even in poor circumstances in Chile, for instance. People may not have that much money, or they might not have all the food they would like, but they're still happy. And that's something I didn't see in Cuba, which was different.
They did they know you were an American? Did you get any comments at all from people saying, hey, please, Trump, back off us, or please help us? Either way.
No, a lot of them, I would ask them about that, and a lot of them are ready for change. There's only one lady who was supporting the regime, actually, and she was one of the ladies at the university who was trying to cover up for the mess of the university. And all the young people I spoke to, they're all ready for a change. A lot of them even said, like, communism is the worst thing that can possibly happen.
When you went, you said, you got there and, they started following you. You're not necessarily unrecognizable. If you're coming into a country, especially a communist country, they're going to run your name and they would find out who you are. Why were you surprised that they would be following you? Because it's pretty clear. I mean, if I were a communist and I see you in my neighborhood, I'm like, he's not here to help me.
Maybe I was surprised because I had filled out all the required paperwork. It said, my visa said journalistic activities, yet they seized all of that. Other people had gone and made videos on Cuba. I guess I didn't realize that all those people had gone with a guide from the government. So I was kind of going rogue. Mm-hmm. And the government obviously didn't like that. For that same reason, there's a 2-star general waiting at the bottom of my hotel room for me in the lobby when I tried to leave early, because we were being told 24/7.
I was going to go when Hugo Chavez was alive. They asked me to come and speak, a bunch of pastors from all over the world. And I was in Africa at the time, and I was flying back, and we landed in, I don't know, somewhere in the Caribbean. And we got off, and I was going to board a plane to go over to speak to the pastors in Venezuela. And Hugo Chavez had said that he was ringing the church where this meeting was supposed to take place with soldiers, and he would arrest me and everyone, all of the pastors in the building, if it was going to happen. And so I was asked, please don't come. We'll be able to get away with it, maybe without you, but once you come, you're a lightning rod. And it was very eye-opening to me to see the difference between what a communist country, everybody's marching, no kings, no kings. That's what it means to have a king. You can't say anything when you're in a country with a real king or a dictator. It's not like it is here in America.
Yeah, that's what another takeaway from this trip was. So right now we have this huge movement in our country for ideas like socialism, for communism. And these people are protesting every week. Underneath the communist regime, they not protest. So they're wanting something that would actually suppress them and stop them from doing exactly what they are doing here inside the United States. Yet when their influencers go and show that, they still will advocate for more of that, which just shows that there is either they're getting paid heavily to promote this communist idea that would be great here inside the United States, or quite literally, they are brainwashed to the point where they have somehow believed that capitalism has failed them so bad that they want to accept a government that would make them so suppressed that they would not even be able to voice their opinions out in public. That's what really shocked me, is that it's real when you hear that underneath communism, there is no freedom of speech. We've heard stories from North Korea. We've heard people who've escaped North Korea. It's very few people that we've heard who's left Cuba and have shared their story in a way where it's resonated so much with people that, wow, it's very similar to a country like North Korea in reality.
So there was a story this week in Texas about another Leering Center. Literally, there was a story about this Muslim-only water park event that was canceled. People start looking into it. I think it's Sarah Gonzalez that looked into it, right? From Blaze. She's just tearing it up. She's
doing great work.
She's brave. Yes, she is. She's very brave. But she found the organizer of this event, and they run a Leering Center. Same sign, same misspelling, everything else.
You think they'd learn?
She's running a Leerings. You'd think they'd learn. I mean,
maybe Lear.
How many Leering centers are there in the country, do you think?
There's a lot. There's a lot of Leering centers. A lot of people just don't know how to leer, and they want to keep making money.
Nick, I worry about you, honestly. I have in my career seen young people come and get involved, and they get tempted by one thing or another, and they lose their way. I know you work hard to be on your knees every day and pray and stay close to God. There's going to be forces that come against you, both friend and foe, that could lead to your destruction. Please follow the Spirit. Keep the Spirit close at hand, or you'll be lost. And I've seen it over and over again. And you, at your age, you can make a real difference for decades to come. Please be careful.
I will. I really appreciate that advice.
Okay, there you have it, folks. Great information from Glenn Beck and Nick Shirley, and I'm sure he's going to be releasing a video on that. I've checked today. I didn't see anything as of when I checked. But when he drops something about Cuba, I will definitely share that. This video does come from Glenn Beck. I'm subscribed to his channel on YouTube and giving him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here. Robert Gouveia, federal worker arrested for death threats to President Trump. How many Republicans have you, this person is Democrat, but how many Republicans have you seen that have been arrested or have posted anything about murdering or death threats on any Democrat? Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, any of them? I don't believe we have, because if we had, that would have been blasted all across the mainstream media and deep state swamp. Isn't it amazing? All right, let's see what he has to say.
Not recorded. Great job. A government employee now arrested for making major threats against the president. You see, the New York Times is saying he was an FAA employee. His name is called Dean Della Chiai out of Nashua, New Hampshire. And apparently he emailed the White House saying, I'm going to eliminate the president. And while he was at work at the FAA, he was using his computer to do some very problematic searches on exactly how to concoct and execute this plan. The DOJ posted this in a press release this week saying, a Nashua resident and federal employee was charged by criminal complaint last week for making interstate threats about the president, according to the new announcement. The guy's 35 years old, works for the FAA, so he's helping you land safely, like a lunatic, apparently, who wants to assassinate the president. He conducted various internet searches on his government work computer in late January. They're wild. He is convicted, 5 years in prison, $250,000 fine, and of course, these are all allegations. Everybody has the presumption of innocence, even though this guy pretty much admitted the whole thing. And here is what the criminal complaint looked like out of the District of New Hampshire. One count, 18 U.S. Code, Section 875C, interstate communication of a threat. Signed here by a special agent, Nathaniel Gamble, and approved by the judge back on May 1. Here's what went down. He says, all right, judge, I need to charge this guy with a crime and get an arrest warrant to go pick him up. I am a special agent with the Secret Service, and I've been employed since 2024. I'm currently assigned to Manchester in New Hampshire, and while employed there, I've investigated federal criminal violations and other threats against the president. In my role with the Secret Service, I completed my training at various locations and foundational training courses on cyber and more, and I've completed more training at this location in Maryland. So this is all of his background and all of the things he's done. The information in this affidavit is based on my personal participation in this investigation. I have not set forth every detail, but I believe this is sufficient to get us a criminal charge and an arrest warrant. Saying all of this is probable cause that this guy is busted. 18 U.S. Code, Section 875C says, whoever transmits in interstate or foreign commerce any communication containing any threat to ... injure the person of another shall be imprisoned and fined not more than 5 years or both. And here's what went down. On or about January 30th, 2026 this year, Secret Service learned about some recent internet searches that were conducted by an employee of the FAA named Dean Delachai. He is employed as a contractor involved in mechanical engineering. Okay, so this guy's working on perhaps maybe not the mechanics like the specific turning wrenches, but some sort of engineering that might take down an airplane. The FAA placed him on suspension based on searches. He comes into his office and work and starts getting on the Googles and starts searching for these things. He utilized his work computer to search in substance the following inquiries. He said, Dear Google, how to get a gun into a federal facility. Previous assassination attempts against the president. Percentage of the population that wants the president dead. Countdown timers or clocks estimating the president's death. The phrase he said into the search engine, I am going to eliminate Donald John Trump. The location of the vice president, J.D. Vance's homes and the names and the ages of his children. The location of Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War's home, and the name and ages of his children. At some point after running those searches, Delachai took his FAA work computer into the FAA IT department and requested to delete his search history off the device. He says, oh crap, this isn't good. Then the IT department said, yeah, we'll help you delete your search history. Just leave your computer here with us and we'll take a look at it. They go in there, they're like, holy crap. They reported the concerning searches to the agency within it, ran it up the chain of command. Then they sent it over to the Secret Service. Then on February 3rd, 2026, U.S. Secret Service resident agent in charge called Carrie Meade and an officer from the Nashua Police Department, they went to this guy's apartment in Nashua. And there he admitted to conducting the searches on his FAA work computer, and he was remorseful. He stated he realized that he could not search these subjects and that it was crazy for him to do this on his work computer, just like snap, and is propagandized into this. Watch. Delachai expressed in substance that what motivated him to conduct these searches was that he was upset with the current administration based on multiple subjects, including the election, presidential pardons of like the J6ers, and the Epstein files, right? He stated that he was also motivated by not wanting to return to in-person work with a coworker who he had previously accused of sexual assault. Now, the FAA had found his complaint unsubstantiated. During the interview, the agent observed the following items written on a whiteboard attached to his refrigerator door. It said on a whiteboard, calm down more, 1 month, no arrest by police, go DC to office if they do not action, say arrest me, I am going to murder Trump. Her defense of oath. So they show up to interview the guy. He's got this all plastered on a whiteboard. This sounds like a crazy stalker movie. This guy stated that he had no interest in assassinations, but he did conduct a search about assassinations because it was part of the cycle that was going on in his mind. He could not provide a reason other than that as to why he searched for assassinations and attempted assassinations. Now, he mentioned that he was depressed and he sees a therapist and is engaged in ketamine therapy to try to get better. He admitted that he drinks to black out and that he used to drink every day. He also said he used cannabis daily and occasionally uses mushrooms. He admitted that he had possessed a handgun locked inside a safe in his apartment and that he also owned a hunting rifle and another handgun that were at his friend's residence. The interview was not recorded. Great job. Now, on April 21, staff at the White House located in Washington, D.C., where the president lives, an email to the White House's public-facing email address from his Gmail, ddelachide@gmail.com. The subject is contact the president. In that email, it stated in the body of the email, I, Dean Delachide, am going to neutralize/kill you, Donald John Trump, because you decided to kill kids and say that it was war when in reality it is terrorism. God knows your actions and where you belong. Guys, totally nuts. So based on the foregoing, I submit that there is probable cause to believe that this guy has committed the crime of interstate communication of a threat, and I request a criminal complaint and an arrest warrant be issued. A FAA mechanical engineer is sending this from his work computer, evidently. So that's another person who, as we've seen many times over here, has become just completely obsessed with eliminating Trump. It's the same story. If convicted, 5 years in prison, $250,000 fine, and had a handgun at his home. So fortunately, he sent an email, so we got to figure it out before he actually tried something on this.
Alrighty, there you have it, folks. Let me get it back here. Oh,
It's over by May 5th,
right.
so they made him guilty, and it was 250.
Okay, let me jump back here. Okay, make sure I get the right video. All right, so this video here does come from Robert Gouveia. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here. And Cotton Ball just gave me a nice comment. Thank you very much. Let me reply back to that. There you go, Cotton Ball. Okay, I appreciate that. And let me remind you, folks, let me close this out here. Let me remind you, folks, that these videos that I share with you are videos that come directly from the producers. I've got the links to the videos right here in the description box, as well as the links to the producer's channel. And these videos that I've shared with you are videos that I've posted here on Mertech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common-sense, logic and truth videos here, the kind of information that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. Now, I'd like to share all this information with you, but unfortunately, I just don't have the time to do so. And that's why I've put together my Mertech Daily News Wrap-Up playlist. Right here's the video from Barry Cunningham. We started that in my podcast here, and I'll let you finish watching that. In my playlist here, we've got information from We the People News. It says I have 27 videos in here, about 10 or 11 hours worth of great information. Anthony Brian Logan, Raves, the People's Voice, Operation Freedom, The American Politics, another video from Anthony Brian Logan. Tons of information. Now, go ahead and take a break right now. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut, or a sandwich and a soft drink, or maybe even a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and meet me back here. But before we take off, I want to share some information here from Trinova Health. Great information.
Access Med powered by Trinova Health is a revolutionary telehealth service that offers fast, free Access Med powered by Trinova Health is a revolutionary telehealth service that offers fast, free online evaluations and free home delivery of customized compounded medications offering custom weight loss support, ivermectin therapy, hair restoration, cosmetic rejuvenation, custom ED treatments and more. You can complete your visit in less than 10 minutes. and there's no subscriptions or recurring fees ever.
Okay, there we have it. And as I said, folks, go ahead and give me about 15 or 20 minutes to get my playlist set up within Rumble Studio, and I'll meet you right back here, and we'll have a great time going over today's headlines and today's news. Again, the kind of stuff that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you for spending this time with me. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.